I love YouTube. I mean, I make videos for a living, so I guess that's a given. But seriously, if I'm not working on a video, I'm probably watching another creator's most recent upload, or digging through some good old theme park history channels. But I've been asked by fans, by friends, by family, what happens if YouTube just ends? If some economic or legal cataclysm causes the site to just shut down? It's a big question, and personally one I don't love to think about. For many people, it would be the loss of both their favorite streaming service and potentially their jobs. It would mean millions of videos just disappear, never to be seen again. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I want to take a look today at what, if anything, could spell YouTube's demise, and what the ramifications of that would entail for anybody invested in the platform. First off, YouTube today is very different than it was at its inception. It was something of a Wild West landscape. Copyrighted footage was shared across the network en masse. Want to watch the SpongeBob movie in 240p? Be my guest. And many people who create original content would see brief viral success followed by relative obscurity, enjoying their moment in the sun, but without the promise of making a career out of it. It wasn't a platform that you could reasonably make a living on. It was just another social network where you could, well, broadcast yourself. But that would change soon. Video sharing had existed before YouTube, but there wasn't a true collective site for user-created videos. It was spread across many sites, all specializing in niches. Low internet bandwidth meant that accessing videos wasn't nearly as convenient as it is today, as your slow computer used slow internet to access low-resolution videos. This is a time before smart devices in your pocket and access to Wi-Fi at every cafe. When YouTube launched, it didn't promise the world. It really was just another site. The birth and growth of YouTube isn't entirely relevant to this vid, but there's some key elements that you should remember. Now, the Partner Program launched in 2007, so the most prominent creators could receive financial compensation for their work. But over the next few years, the notion of becoming a full-time creator became less of a rarity. As more creators were able to quit their day jobs and focus on creating content, more content became available. And with more time on their hands, better content could be made. More creators grew in popularity, and technology improved so you could watch videos anywhere. YouTube was becoming more relevant to the public consciousness. More people were watching the site, which gave more credibility to the platform for advertisers. You could reach more people with an online ad placed before videos than if you bought out TV space on a network channel. This rise in the number of creators, number of viewers, number of advertisers, and quality of content meant that YouTube began to transcend social media platform and became something more akin to a Hulu or Netflix. YouTube now has close to 2 billion monthly users. That's a lot. Thousands of creators make a living off the platform, and advertisers have more outreach here than arguably any other site. There's a lot of players in the game, and it's attracted more corporate interest. Today we see more and more of old media getting on YouTube. Late night shows, news outlets, and more trying to get in on the action. While I don't like the influx of this stuff, it does add an extra level of security to the platform. More money on the line, more relevance to real companies. If YouTube has something valuable to offer to massive conglomerates, the state of the platform becomes a relevant concern to parties with potentially billions of dollars on the line. It gives incentive for all parties to keep the platform running. This is why I don't see YouTube going away anytime soon. In a way, it's become too big to fail. Competition can't realistically pop up since both viewers and content creators have become both more and more invested in the specific platform. But Tyler, you may say, there must be some scenario in which YouTube collapses. Well, Jimmy, for the sake of being thorough, let's take a look at a couple possibilities. User-distributed videos have gone from being a niche of the internet to its own segment of media, just like television. People won't just stop making videos, and people won't just lose interest in user-created content if YouTube were to disappear. The allure of knowing over 1/4 of the population of the world was on YouTube at some point means that somebody will try to take its place. But I'll get into that more later. So let's talk about the ways YouTube could possibly end. This actually could have happened back in 2007 when Viacom sued the company for copyright infringement, as users were uploading clips and shows from their IP. It's a long story, but at the end, Viacom lost. Hooray! Since then, the threat of conglomerates trying to topple YouTube has come to an end. The relationship between YouTube and major corporations around it has become more symbiotic, and no company is going to try and fight the force that is Google. So I guess no lawsuit can really end YouTube. So what about another adpocalypse? Well, content getting censored to appease advertisers is unfortunate, and the system for deeming what is not suitable for advertisers is incredibly flawed. But I don't think this will destroy the entire platform. Creators generally will have to change their content if they want to remain monetized, but it seems most channels currently can, and have, bounced back from this. So what about laws, government, authority? The newly passed Article 13 in the EU probably poses the greatest threat, not to ending YouTube, but diminishing its widespread, easily accessible nature. I don't want to go too in detail with this, but if Article 13 was enforced to its fullest extent, copyright content can no longer be posted, even under the nature of fair use. And probably the most damaging detail is that the repercussions for uploading copyrighted content is issued to the owner of the platform. This means any website that even offers the ability to post copyrighted content is at risk. Doesn't matter if it's against guidelines or even sought out by an algorithm in an attempt to somehow take the content down. In terms of YouTube, it's entirely possible that the site may be closed in the EU rather than deal with legal action. Any gaming channel, video essay channel, meme channel, anything that uses copyrighted content in any form becomes a liability for the company hosting them. Personally, I think if the true repercussions of this are realized, most, if not all, social media platforms may just leave the EU, including YouTube. But I feel the loss of money in advertising and promotion may just cause that legislation to be repealed. Or at least I hope. But even if this is integrated, I don't think it would be enough to destroy the platform, especially considering its reach amongst every other region. If some legislation was passed in the vein of Article 13 in the US, YouTube could likely shut down. So many creators would be gone, and public interest would likely decline over time as the entire platform shifts direction. It would probably destroy most YouTubers' careers, and most of them would likely have to rely on external funding to continue producing content. Speaking of, I just launched a Patreon. Patrons will get access to some new vids and more fun stuff, so you can check that out later if you want. But luckily, fair use law seems to be set and stable, and potential lost profits by all social media corporations would likely make such changes impossible. Sure, laws change, and the First Amendment right could technically be twisted in some despicable manner, but it seems just too unrealistic to consider a likely threat. Lastly, could YouTube destroy itself? Could some new, even more limiting monetization policy end everything? Honestly, probably not. YouTube makes a lot of mistakes, but it's in nobody's interest to destroy the whole platform. Advertisers will slowly learn how to deal with the new medium, and as they do, better policies will come around. YouTube is the only platform doing this sort of thing, so it's going to be a learning experience for everyone involved. I've seen people use the argument that since sites like MySpace fell, how is YouTube any different? Well, first off, MySpace had just over 75 million users at its peak. YouTube has the aforementioned 2 billion. YouTube's greatest asset is its catalog of old videos and constant stream of new content. In the case of MySpace, there was very little keeping users stuck to that specific site, so if something else came around that was new and offered something better, people would just move. I can't make a great argument of how YouTube could end, because at this point, the platform is so large it would take much more than a lawsuit or adpocalypse or whatever to shut it down. But, just for the fun of it, let's say that this happens. YouTube is closed down. What then? Well, other tech companies, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, would all jump at the chance to launch a real sustainable venture to grab a piece of that 2 billion user market. Facebook could try something, and they have, but I don't personally think they have a chance. Too much animosity from both creators and users alike, and it seems as though their influence is decreasing as the years go on. It's not impossible that they would launch a true YouTube successor if it were to fall, but I just don't see it working out too well. So let's take a look at the other three. Amazon owns Twitch, so it's easy to assume they would use that as their jumping off point. Could some whole new startup pop up and change the game? Probably not. Starting a video hosting and streaming site to compete with YouTube requires a lot of money. Resources, servers, stuff like that nobody other than a multi-billion-dollar company could feasibly acquire. It would cause major repercussions for many YouTubers, as a good chunk of subscribers may just not come back when they move to a new platform. Realistically, YouTube is such a staple of the online landscape, with so much money exchanging hands between massive corporations, that it won't likely shut down anytime soon. And in 10 years, 20 years, 30, whatever, the platform has growth and a user base unlike anything else from the early days of the internet. Too many players are in the game, too much potential exposure for advertisers, and in some magical scenario where it does end, somebody else will simply come in and take its place. User-created videos won't end. It's like arguing social media will just end. It'll change, for better or worse, but at the end of the day, this media format is here to stay. This is Tyler of Knowledge Hub.